Okay. Okay, guys, good evening and welcome to Diary of a Scentsy Consultant. When I first started, I just need to move my laptop back. When I first started doing these, I started by going like, it's week whatever, and we're on, I don't know what week we're on now, so I'm not going to pretend to know that, but thank you so much for joining us this evening. If this is your first time joining us, the purpose behind these, I nearly said podcast, it's not a podcast. It's a bit like a podcast, I guess. The purpose behind these interviews is, whilst listening to the Diary of a CEO podcast, I was hugely inspired by all the different guests that Stephen Bartlett has on every single week. Sometimes there's a couple a week. But it's not him, it's the absolute multitude of guests that he has on, and from all different businesses, all different backgrounds. And I thought, do you know what, that is so applicable to Scentsy, because there is not like a one size fits all Scentsy consultant. There's, you know, a whole range of different people with different, you know, from different walks of life, different responsibilities, all absolutely smashing their business on whatever level works for them. So what I wanted to do was obviously share some of that with you guys and hopefully inspire you to go forward and smash your business. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to introduce the very, very lovely Jemma Webb. Jem is one of my very, 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 very best friends in the business, and is a superstar director. And I'm going to stop talking there because otherwise we'll ruin like the first question. So thank you first of all, Jem, for doing this tonight. Like, lovely to talk to you.
Time in the making, hasn't it? It's taken a little while for me to kind of nail down.
But that's kind of like part of what we want to talk about, is that, you know, you have a very full life, but you totally fit your business into that. So I'm going to stop talking. So first of all, tell us a little bit about you, about your home life, your family, your children, about Jemma.
Okay, so my name's Jem. I am Superstar Director of Team Luminescent Rockstars. I joined Scentsy in 2017, and at the time I worked as a finance officer for my local authority. I had just the one child at the time, and I also had my own little I had two businesses. I had like John, my partner, calls me like Del Boy. That's literally what he calls me. Like, I can turn my hand to anything, and I'll sell ice the Eskimos. That's what he calls me. And so I had two other businesses at the time.
Look at these. I've got him well trained. Thanks.
John usually does that when I'm on a call, so I am hoping that I hear his little feet. Well, his massive size 12 feet.
They want that recognition.
Yeah. So yeah, I had two businesses. And a part-time job. So I live in Bedfordshire. Nobody seems to know where that is. It's near Milton Keynes. People have heard that, and it's about an hour away from London. And I live with my fiance John. We've been together for 13 years this year. Got engaged last year on my 40th birthday at the most beautiful, I don't know if it's called a manor house. I don't know what it's called. It was called De Vere in Tortworth, which is in like the Cotswolds. It was just the most, yes, I can see Roxy, she's also from Bedford, got a representation down.
I love that.
Yeah, he took me away and we had like the most beautiful engagement, beautiful time away. I have two lovely children, Harry, who is 11 on Friday, and Teddy, who turned 4 at the end of April. Very similar, very close age to Laura's Finn. We were pregnant at the time, weren't we?
We were like, you know, bump buddies, and we had all these grand plans, and then we went into lockdown and never did any of them.
Well, just saying that COVID.
They'll be driving. The boys will be driving us there by the time we actually.
Well, that'll be good.
Yeah.
Mum, tag.
Yeah.
So yeah, how much in depth do you want me to go?
Well, I guess, I mean, it's obviously entirely up to you how open and how, you know, how honest you want to be. I know you have talked about, you know, but yeah, just to maybe give a little bit of context, because the following questions are all about Scentsy. So just to give a little bit of context about, you know, your day-to-day life and what your family life looks like.
Those of you that know me will know this, because I'm very vocal about it on myself. I like to raise a lot of awareness about it, not just for my children, but for a lot of children who have the challenges that my two boys do, but they're both severely autistic. Harry was diagnosed with autism at about 2.5, I think he was, and now he's 11 on Friday. He's still non-verbal. He's as tall as I am. He doesn't have a lot of his receptive language, which means the language that he hears and understands, he can understand quite well, but he can't communicate that back. And he has autism with learning disability, so he has all the things that go with autism, but he also has that extra challenge of having a learning disability on top of that. And he also has something called sensory processing disorder, which is a part of autism, which means he really struggles to fit in our world. So our touch and our smell and the things we see and hear and feel, they are just magnified to levels that we can't even imagine for somebody who has autism and sensory processing. He's still doubly incontinent, so he still wears nappies. He suffers from chronic constipation, and I know this is TMI, but honestly, I'm so open about this because I'm not embarrassed about my children, and I'm not ashamed. And I think it's really important that what my two children and the challenges they face, it's not an isolated case. There's so many.
I just have to put a side note to that, and I know this, we are going to talk about Scentsy, but it's really important, like I said, to talk about the people behind Scentsy. Is that if it wasn't for Jemma being so open and honest and sharing, a lot of you do know, like my son is 4 and his diagnosis was ASD and sensory processing disorder. So if Jemma hadn't helped me so much, like I wouldn't have known how, or been so open and honest. So I think that's really, really commendable that you do. Like, it's the wrong word, but I think it's amazing that you do, because it's because otherwise you are literally helping people every day by doing that.
And it's so many families. Everybody knows someone with autism. Like, it's so much more widely recognised now. So that's Harry. As I said, he's still continent. And the same with Teddy, although he's 4, he's non-verbal. He's never spoken, never tried to say a word, nothing. He again struggles with sensory processing. He chews an awful lot. Neither of them have any like danger awareness. They can't keep themselves safe. So my daily life revolves around my children, literally from the minute I wake up, when they decide to wake me up, whatever hour of the night that could be, to the minute that we go to bed, is dedicated to our children. And I know as mums, we, of course, like, that's a given, we dedicate our time to our children, but with my two, it is a caring role 24/7, because they can't get themselves, they can't get themselves anything to eat, they can't use a remote control, they can't go to the toilet or shower themselves or brush their teeth, or it is literally a caring 7. And on top of that, there's a safety aspect with them both being autistic and not having, they don't really interact, they kind of parallel live. They're just a parallel in our house together. They don't really interact, but when they have, specifically Harry, because he's so much bigger, when he has meltdowns, it's really important that we keep Teddy safe and also Harry safe from hurting himself. So it's a very, very demanding role that I don't ever want to sound like an X Factor sob story, but in the same breath, I think it's so important.
So important, yeah.
Is you may not know someone with autism, but you may know a carer, and carers are, it's a very, very challenging role, and they need understanding and shoulder, around them. So yeah, that's my life in a nutshell. I'm not going to talk about this all night.
No, so. I know, but I do think it's important. It's important to give context, what your day-to-day life looks like. So, okay, amazing. So when did you join Scentsy?
So I joined Scentsy in 2017. Tam, who's my sponsor, Tam Richards, I'd known for a couple of years because we run in the same craft circle. So back in the day, I mean, I can't believe I'm calling like 2000, like the teen 2000s, like back in the day.
I know.
we both had a craft business. We've been doing it a number of years, and back in the day, the way that we grew businesses on Facebook were like networking trains, loop giveaways, things like that. So we kind of connected through there and we were in like a big group of lots of other crafting mums, and we used to stay up and have we'd be crafting until 1 o'clock in the morning, and you still up? And yeah, I'm still up. And Tam joined Scentsy, and when I first looked at it, I used to collect Yankee candles. I know that's a swear word. I wonder if that's going to be out on. Love them. But at the time Harry was 3, and I walked in on him trying to, you know how flame flickers. He was trying to catch the flame between his 2 fingers, and it's life out of me. So I was like, right, I put all my candles, all my Yankee candles on Facebook Marketplace and eBay, and I got rid of the lot. So I had this kind of gap. And when Tam joined Scentsy, and I must admit, I first looked at it, and I know probably a lot of people thought the same. I thought, God, that's it. There's no way on earth I'm spending over 50 quid on a burner. That was my first
burner.
Yeah, that was my first reaction. And it wasn't until I tried it, and I did eventually take the plunge, because she was very consistent, and I kept seeing it, and every time I saw a post, like, my curiosity was piqued a little bit more. So I eventually did try it, and I was like, oh my God, I love this. And there's a funny story that Tam always refers back to, because I kept saying, I really want to do this. I'm going to do it. And then it never happened. I was like, right, I'm going to join this afternoon. And that join email never came. And that went on for about 6 months, and I ghosted her in the end. And it's just a funny story that we go back and talk about now. And it wasn't until I just one random Saturday afternoon, and I just thought, well, there was a kit, and I got 3 warmers in the kit that month, and I thought, what have I got to lose? I want a warmer for upstairs. The warmer, I want 5 quid. I might as well spend another 30 quid, get the kit, sell some wax to my mum and my sisters. I've got a lot of females in my family, and I might just earn enough commission to buy my wax while I'm working my job and working my other business. And
that was how you joined. So previous, I know you told us what role you were doing when you joined Scentsy, but from kind of like leaving school, college, what's your like career path like with up until becoming a Scentsy consultant?
Oh God, how long have you got? I think everyone's done so many random jobs in their life, haven't they? So when I was actually studying for my A-levels, I've always been a really hard worker. Like from the age of like 11, I was sticking potpourri labels on bags for my mum's friend, and I used to go and make tea and coffee in her burger van at horse shows. And when I was studying for my A-levels, I was a barmaid, and then I barmaided on a Friday night and a Sunday. I used to work in a stationery shop over the weekend, and then I also cleaned at school for 2 hours after school. What my dream was at the time is I really wanted to go and be a holiday entertainer. And I know Laura knows about this. We've both been there, both from that.
Our lives are so similar in so many ways.
Aren't they? That's what I really, really wanted to do. So I applied to be a red coat for Butlins, and I went to Skegness, and I had my audition, and I actually got a job within the Haven part. It's all owned by the same company, but the British Holidays part, actually, I was a fun star down in Wales. So I went and did that for a year. I came back, and I kind of fell into like telesales just to get me through finding like a proper job. And then I started working at Bedford Hospital. So it's called an MDT coordinator. It's basically an admin role, coordinating some surgeons and the radiographers and things. And then I fancied a change, and I joined my local authority as a finance officer. And I did that for 14 years. And coming from somebody who hated maths at school, I landed in a finance job.
And are you still doing that now, or is Scentsy your full-time business?
No, so Scentsy is my full-time gig now. I took that plunge actually the month that lockdowns happened. I'd had on maternity leave, and where we moved house last year to a bigger house, but our house before, we had 2 bedrooms, and initially we thought, when I found out I was pregnant, that the boys would share when Teddy was old enough, when he is old in his own bed, he'd share with Harry. But as time went on, it became more and more apparent that it was just going to be a safety issue, that they couldn't do that. So John would be caring for Harry overnight and staying in Harry's room, and I would have Teddy in our room and care for him overnight. And when it came to my time to go back to work, logistically, I didn't know how we were going to do it. How we were both going to run caring for children overnight and then both go to work the next day. It just wasn't going to happen. So I decided not to go back not to return after my maternity leave. And I think it was like the next week, lockdowns were announced, and I remember sitting on my sofa and sobbing, thinking, oh my God, what have I done? I've literally just given up my safety net, I wouldn't call it a career because it's not something I ever wanted to do. It's something I fell into, and it's not enjoyed. It paid the bills, but my stable income, I've just handed my notice in to take a punt on Scentsy, and we're all in lockdown. Like, how on earth am I going to run a Scentsy business? And little did we know,
and then look what happened.
It was absolutely going to explode. But yeah, so I didn't return.
Yeah, so it went from there. Amazing. Okay, so again, I asked that question just to show that, like, the vast kind of I can't think of the words, but basically everyone that's come on here has done so many different jobs, so many different backgrounds, so much different experience. But I do honestly believe that from anything you've done, I feel like there's a skill set that is applicable to Scentsy, like in some way, shape or form.
100%. Totally agree with you.
So what is your biggest like wow moment in Scentsy? Like, is there a moment, like if somebody said that to me, I know a couple of what mine are, but like, is there a moment where you've just stood there and gone like, wow, like this is where I'm supposed to be?
Yeah. So when I joined on the 1st of July, and within 4 months I'd hit director. And by hitting director, I'd earned the Mediterranean cruise incentive for 2.
Amazing.
And I did have a very brief stint in another direct selling business. Wasn't for me. I kind of just did it just to test the waters and see what it was like. And I'd heard about these incentive trips, and I never knew anyone that got them. And there were always these high flyers in the business. So when I joined Scentsy and Tam told me about it, I just kind of brushed it off and thought, oh yeah, no chance. Yeah. And then I earned it. And I hadn't had a holiday for about 5 years at that point. I haven't had one since either. Just want to add that in case they're not. But yeah, hi Roxy's little boy. That's so cute. And I earned it for 2. Now, in our situation, it wasn't possible for me to take John. As much as I would have loved him to come with me. Yeah. Wouldn't have been fair. Harry wouldn't have understood. I only had Harry at the time. So I took my best friend Justine with me, and I had to really work myself up to go. I couldn't eat the day before. I was sobbing. I didn't want to go. And if I hadn't been taking Justine, I think I would have bailed. But because I'd promised her this trip, I went and I gritted my teeth. And I remember I walked out, because do you remember you came off the Barcelona, and to go to the ship you had to go up this massive big like escalator. Up this escalator, and you saw the ship, and I was like, what? That I'd never seen anything as massive in my entire. And we got on there, and from then on it was just mind blown. Every time I turned a corner and I saw something like the most luxurious environment that you could be in, or you'd see somebody that you'd watch do a training, and it was just like every time and then the biggest thing on that trip is I remember we were in the restaurant, and it was like a buffet restaurant, and I'd gone up and I'd got my plate, and I was in the queue, and we were like walking down this queue, and I felt someone next to me, and I turned, and it was Orville, and I was like, oh my God. And he had no idea who I was. I'd never met him before, but I was like, I can't not say something to him. So I just turned to him and I just said, Orville, my name's Jemma, I'm from Region 2, and I just wanted to say, like, this is the most incredible place I've ever been in my entire life. Thank you so much for like giving us the opportunity to experience something so amazing. And he put his it gives me goosebumps.
I know, honestly.
He put his hand on my arm, and he goes, thank you for all the work you've done. We haven't got you here, you've got yourself here. And I was like, oh God, it was just that to me was everything. That is awful
though, isn't it? And that is just they just have a way of like, they just know what to say. And it's quite funny, isn't it? Because we were both on that trip, but we didn't know each other at the time, so we didn't see each other, talk to each other, and we've since worked out that we were like stood in the karaoke bar, both drinking one of those bucket cocktails.
That was a messy night, that was, yeah. I've still got those buckets, you know.
I know, it was so good, but and you just saying that and like just talking about that, like you literally, you are back in that moment, because that is what, you know, that is what Scentsy does. And I listened to a training yesterday from Jennifer Anderson that was actually 6 years old, and she talks about becoming Scentsy. Like, if you want your business to be successful, like you need to become Scentsy. And somebody had asked in the comments, like, how do you become Scentsy? And she was like, you go to events, you go to trainings, you go to SFI, you go to World Tour. If your leaders put on events, if your leaders put on training days, and you work your backside off to get on incentive trips, because the experiences that you have on those trips are like nothing else. They're like totally indescribable, aren't they?
Yeah, it's not something you can put into words or look at through a video or a photo. No. It's feeling, isn't it? Yeah. And have to completely fall in love with the company. You have to, and it's so easy to do. Like, it's not a chore or a hardship. It's very fall in love with the company that we're part of, because it is just the most humble. I don't even know, I can't even put it into words. If they need like a new word to describe Scentsy, because it's so.
But I think it's really important as well to highlight, I know you mentioned it at the beginning, but I'm just going to mention it again, that when these incentive trips come up and people say like, oh, I'm never going to earn it, you know, they have that mindset. When you started at the beginning of that incentive trip, you were a essential consultant, and when you earned the trip, you were a director. So not only had, you know, these incentive trips are put into place, like they're not silly. The criteria is there to help you grow your business. So anyone that's like listening to this now, and when obviously the next one's going to be announced at SFR very, very soon, and the next incentive period will be starting. Don't write yourself off. Don't think, oh, I can't earn that. I always use your story that like you were an essential consultant and you were a director by the time you finished.
So the incentive trips, I've earned them starting as an essential consultant, starting as a director, and starting them as a superstar director. It doesn't matter where you are in your business, you can absolutely, you just have to adjust your focus. 100%. So for example, as an essential consultant, you have all these potential. And if you work, and it's literally as simple as working the business, you don't need to overcomplicate it. You go out there, you sell, you sponsor, you coach, you party, you do the things that they tell you to do, and you can earn the trips. When you're a superstar director, you don't have the luxury of promotional points.
No.
So it's a bit of a harder slog.
Yeah.
It's easy for superstar directors to earn an incentive. It's really not. You have to really up your game in other areas, because you can't rely on any. But no matter what business, no matter where you are in your business, whatever title, length of time, you can earn an incentive trip. 100%.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing. Okay.
And I was just going to say, just on that point, that's the only incentive trip I've ever been on. It's not the only one I've earned. It's the only one I've ever been on, because my life doesn't allow me to go on them. But it doesn't ever stop me from trying to earn them. And I've earned every single one since I joined. I've earned every single level of every single trip since I've been able to go on them all. But that still doesn't douse my fire for it, because it's still the achievement of doing it. And not only the achievement of doing it, but what the work you put in to get that goal, to hit that goal, you're building a really sustainable business. It's not just about the trip, it's about what you do to get there, and then what that.
And you have earned annual sales this year, I must just add in as well.
Thank you.
I've probably got my cheerleader. Well, I've always got my cheerleader hat on, but okay. So, are there any like standout, whether that's like an actual in-person training or a keynote speech or something you've watched on YouTube or something that's in the Aha Moments group, or any trainings that like literally stand out to you that you watched and listened to and thought, and it was like, wow, that changed your business, that, you know, somebody could go and find and watch?
I've got two. So the first one is, I know it's the same as Lisa Allwood's, because I know she's mentioned this one. It's Jennifer Anderson's How to Earn £10,000 a month.
That was mine as well.
I like it. It's just such a good training. If you haven't watched it, go and do it. The other one isn't a training as such. It's the Scentsy story, and it's something back to all the time. If I'm ever feeling a little despondent, or I just need a bit of oomph, or I just need to feel uplifted, I go and watch the Scentsy story.
Yeah. When I onboard new teamies, I always send them that on the first day and say, watch this, so you know what you're becoming a part of. Because
and I team a lot, actually, because I think it's important to remember what you're part of. It's just, I just love it.
Yeah, it is. It's just, and it literally is them. Like, it is, they are the most obviously authentic, but like that is literally them. And it wasn't, you know, like we've always said, it wasn't like thousands of pounds of, you know, hundreds of thousands of pounds of investment. They literally built that from that shipping container.
Yeah.
It's, so special.
Yeah. Favorite.
Okay, what would be the biggest tip is that Jennifer Aniston or an Anderson? Jennifer Anderson it's on a YouTube. She's sitting in her car with a coffee cup, and I literally remember watching it. I was in my kitchen at our previous two houses, and all on YouTube. If you type in the Scentsy story, and it'll come up as well. And I literally remember watching Jennifer Aniston $10,000 paycheck video, and I was like shouting at my phone, and Dan was going to me, "You should have been born in America." It was like, you so should have, because I was going, yes.
She's brilliant. In fact, any of Jennifer Aniston, she's definitely one of my people that I watch.
Yeah.
Inspiration and a kick up the bum. Yeah.
And when I met her at SS Disney, she's like the nicest human being on the planet. Just so lovely. And again, this is really important, guys. And obviously the purpose of doing this is like, everyone's a human being. Everyone has it within them, has the capability to achieve whatever they want to within their business. Everyone's just, you know, everyone's a human being. Okay. What would be your biggest?
I was just going to that point, when you've asked people what jobs they've done or what they've done before Scentsy, I bet no one has ever said, I've got a qualification in Scentsy. Like, because there is a qualification in Scentsy. Like, we've all come from very different backgrounds, and we're all totally different people. Success is for everybody.
Absolutely. What would be your biggest tip that you would give to somebody when it comes to networking, whether that's in person, online, to build relationships, build connections, find new customers?
Okay. I know this is really boring and obvious, but just to go for it, because whatever you think is going to happen isn't going to happen. Like, the thing that you care about, the thing that you're worried about or frightened about or scared about, looking like an idiot, or they're going to talk about you behind your back, or they're going to say something, or they're going to shout at you or give you a funny look, it's not going to happen. Like, nobody cares about that stuff. That's your concern. That's not what other people are worried about. So people always say, like, you know, when people are worried about going and doing live videos because like their hair's not done or they don't look their best, no one cares about any of that stuff apart from you. It is just to go for it, because nobody. So just an example, I was in the post office a couple of weeks ago, and I was posting a load of the Scentsy branded envelopes.
Yeah, and I'm thanking Emma for she shared the links.
Oh yeah, the queue was really long in the post office, and the lady behind me goes, "Oh my god, they're beautiful envelopes. What's in them?" And I said, "Oh, it's wax melts. I'm just sending a load out to my customers from my little business." And she goes, "Oh, lovely." I said, "Do you like candles and wax melts?" And she goes, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, do you want some samples? Give me." And then she goes, "Yeah, have you got a card?" And I didn't have a card, did I? So I said, "Are you on Facebook?" And she said, "Yeah." So she got her phone out, she added herself to my group. And then when I got home, I sent her a message and just said, "I can drop some samples off for you. And would you like to borrow a warmer with it as well?" And she said, "Yes, please." Took it round, got my borrow bag out. And now she's a really good customer. She's already ordered 2 warmers and 6 bars.
Love it.
Obviously, that's not going to happen all the time. But if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Definitely. And if I'm too scared, just say, "Do you like wax melts?" Like, that's not a question. That's, you know, who doesn't like?
And also, who's going to say no to something for free? Do you want some samples? Yeah, all right. Funny enough, I just talked last night at Lisa's about, so similar thing happened. We took Finley to a a wildlife, like a zoo place, not long after we moved here. And the lady on the reception was just so lovely, very personable, really chatty, lovely with him, like was just brilliant. And then you had to, it was one of them places where like you walk out around the same bit where you walk in. So when I went back through to go through, I said to her, I was like, honestly, you've been amazing today. I said, I run a business. Like, I'd love to send you. And I said, like, have you heard of Scentsy? And she went, oh, I have. She said, my consultant doesn't do it anymore. And obviously I was like, yes. But I said to her, like, I'd love to send you some samples. And exactly the same as you, Jem, I got my phone up and I said, like, put your name in there. And I added her on Facebook like there and then, because please don't think it comes easy. I'm sure Jemma and I in that moment both have to have that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just go for it. But since then, she obviously added her onto Facebook. Oh, hello.
Hi, Finn.
Want to say hi? Is Jemma coming to your house? Not tonight.
I will do soon, Poppet.
Soon? Are you going to go sit on the sofa? Yeah, I'll be out in a minute. He's got his iPad, yeah? Yeah, he's got his iPad. Cool. Sorry, yeah, so since then, obviously, she added me as a friend on Facebook. I've been live. I was actually going live when the obsidian was half price, but she saw the bubbled iridescent mini in my utility room in the background and ended up ordering that. And again, she's local. I've dropped it to her. Same thing. Like, so now she's a customer. Just from that moment of, and as well, like this, what we have is like a gift, whether it's the product or the opportunity. Like every single person on this Zoom loves Scentsy, or you wouldn't be here. So like, just give that gift to everybody.
Exactly. And do you know what it is? I think people can like be under the misconception. You can sit there and think, oh well, it's easy, you've been doing it so long. It never is easy. And it's not about being confident, because I wouldn't class myself as a confident person, actually. Probably the opposite. It's about being brave. Like, you can be brave and not confident at the same time. The two don't coexist. But it's about being brave and just taking that leap. And like, look, you love the product you're selling. You're not trying to peddle them tat. You're trying to enrich their lives with this beautiful product that, you know, and there's so many benefits. I'm not going to go into all of that because I'm not trying to sell you Scentsy, but you know, you're selling something that's incredible and that you believe.
Exactly. So what was your why when you joined? So I know you said obviously at the beginning it was just on a bit of a book, like what was the reason that actually you said it was just on a random Saturday afternoon? What happened on that day that thought, do you know what, I'm gonna go for it? Like, what was your reason why?
Well, because I'd had all these candles and I couldn't use them because of the safety, because of Harry. I wanted a warmer for upstairs, and I was going to message Tam and order one, and then I saw she shared the kit and it had 3 warmers in it. So genuinely, I wanted the kit, and I thought, right, I'll sell the wax to my mum and my sisters. I've got 3 sisters, my mum, my aunties, whatever. But it was just Tam knew me, and I think she knew what I was capable of because she'd seen me run my other businesses. And it was just her gentle pushing. And once I started to rack up these points for the incentive trip and I started promoting, I was like, well, hang on a minute, there's something in this. Yeah. And then earning or earning like a good, like something like, you know, a couple of £100. I'd never dreamed that I could do something that would earn me a couple of £100 that didn't feel like work and that was still getting stuff. So yeah, and then with every little milestone and every day that passed, I just fell in love with it more and more and more and more. Yeah.
And what is your why now? So obviously that's going to evolve over time. What is the reason that you get up every day and work your Scentsy business?
So my why has changed. I mean, there's something that's been constant throughout my, you know, since I guess I hit director. And it, you know, it has paid my bills at a point, and that was my why, and it had to pay my bills. But now it does pay my bills, but it is so much more of an important why to me, because it's something, and I shared this on Facebook, and if you're friends with me, you can go back and have a read of it. But with my life being as hectic and in demand as I am, I don't have a social life. I can't, my boys don't cope with the outside world very much. So we're at home a lot. Don't want to cry. We're at home a lot. And Scentsy is something just for me. So it's given me people that don't expect anything of me than just to be me and to show up. And I don't mean show up to my business. I consistently work my business, but I mean show up. People don't have an expectation of me. You know, friends, when you stop going out or you can't reply to texts all the time or you can't make it to the girls' night, the invitations slowly start stopping.
Yeah.
Scentsy is always there for me. The people are always there for me and accept me on my terms. And if I didn't have Scentsy, I would just be mum and I would just be a carer. Oh my God, I didn't expect. So Scentsy is something that I can step away when I'm having not a bad day, but if I can just shut my way, just be Jemma. I don't have to I don't have to be carer. I can just be me and just authentically me, and I'm completely accepted. And I've got all these friends in my phone that, although we are miles away, I know that if I needed something, you're at the end of the phone for me, even if it's just to have a bit of a cry or a rant or whatever. And something that will keep me here forever. Literally. John always says to me, if we won the lottery, you'd still do Scentsy, wouldn't you? And I said 100%, because I'm not just a job for me. It's part of my personality. I know that sounds really sad, but it's not. Like, it's something that I could never imagine. I don't know what I'd do without it, if I'm honest.
It just becomes bigger than you can even explain, doesn't it?
It's such I have some very, very dark days sometimes, and things can get on top of you and whatever else. Scensy's always been like that light that I've turned to, and it's such a comfort to me, and it's given me things and that I'd never ever be able to repay them for. Does that?
Well, 100%, like 100%. And it's not about, and I certainly feel like, not that I've ever been like this. I genuinely don't feel like I've been like this. And actually, the post that you put up the other day about you bought yourself a bag, I remember feeling, basically, I feel like in the last couple of years especially, it's totally okay to buy a handbag, or it's totally okay, whatever you want to do, book holiday, buy a car, whatever it may be. There's nothing wrong with wanting those things. It's actually really important, and to have that drive. But you could take all that away and it's still always be about the freedom to work on your terms and there is no job in the world that would give my situation isn't quite as demanding. However, it is some days, and there is no job in the world that would give you the freedom to just go, oh, I just need to go here, or I can't come in right now because somebody's like laid on me and won't move. And there's no job in the world that you could have that freedom, and that's what it's about.
And do you know what? For a long time, working up from director to superstar director, it was about money, but not in the greed sense. It wasn't. I was never interested in earning £10,000 in a month just so I could earn £10,000 a month and blow it on flashy handbags and everything else. It was because of our situation. We lived in a 2-bedroomed house where me and John couldn't even share a room because we had to care for the boys overnight separately. I didn't have an office. I worked on my lounge floor for 5 years. This office is a year old, and every penny that I earned that didn't go on bills, I scrimped and saved so we could buy a house, or we could move into a house and do it up as we needed to, and make it nice for the children. And we finally did that last year. And when you hit superstar director, it's kind of a bit of a rite of passage, or when you achieve anything in life, I suppose. You want to mark that by treating yourself to something. I didn't ever do that with superstar director because I didn't want to spend any money on myself. I wanted my family, and because now we've got the house and we've done the work to it, and I feel, I felt like I'd earned my annual sales bonus, and I thought, why not treat myself to a handbag?
Absolutely, it is.
I might add, I still haven't used it, but I will. I'm going to bring it to Essence.
Oh, sorry, just bear with me 1 second.
That's all right. I'm
going to be back in a minute.
Hi.
Do you want to come and sit on my lap? Want to sit on my chair, yeah? That's all right. Finny's going to come and join us, guys, for the last 10 minutes. You're going to sit here on my chair, yeah, next to me. Sit next to me. It's okay, you can listen. Okay. So, you want to sit actually on the chair? Go on then. I think you can squeeze in. Good boy, you're in. He's in. Right, okay, let's go. Okay, so but yeah, you are totally right. It's about the things actually that money could never buy, is what it's about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also,
I've got some photos in it. 1 sec. What is one of your proudest moments in Scentsy?
and
Earning the trips, earning annual sales, superstar director. I'm all really proud. I'm really proud of those things. But and God, this sounds so cheesy. I'm really not a walking cliche, but this sounds cheesy. But I'm just going to own it. Okay, I'm proud every single day.
Yeah.
Anything that business, whether I help my teamie to achieve something or build their confidence, but every day I'm able to work my business or progress or build something in my business. I'm proud of that because my situation could force me to otherwise. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I said that your situation doesn't determine where you can go, it just determines where you can start. So oh God, I had a really good point then. I was watching a film,
Sorry, well, actually, I'm not going to say sorry because this is actually obviously what we do. Can we just turn that down a little bit though, darling?
also be sat here.
But do you know what? I think it's really important. Like, we can be proud of the big, massive things, but it's the little things that compound every day.
I can't eat
Hi, Poppy. I've always said that, yeah, I am really, really proud of those things. But you can have excuses or you can be successful. Like the two can't coexist. You can't have both.
No.
Rather than using the reasons that I can't work my business, I use them as the reasons that I should work my business. And I've always literally day dot. So yeah, there are days that I'm knackered and I can't be bothered. And the last thing I want to do is talk to someone or go and tidy my office or build an order or go and reach out a network or do something. That's the last thing sometimes I want to do. But that's the reason I should, because I am working towards a life that gives me something for me, but also gives me the freedom to be whatever I need to for my boys.
Yeah, definitely. And it's that discipline, isn't it? It's
you're
never always going to be motivated, but you can be disciplined.
If you're waiting to be motivated, well, if I waited to be motivated, I'd still be a central consultant, I think. So
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just very disciplined, I suppose.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you have to be, and it's not a 9 to 5. It's not going to be where you're sitting at a desk from 9 till 3, because that's totally not what we do, or that's why we do what we do. Okay, so any particular like personal development, either books or audiobooks or anything again that you've listened to or read over the last 5 or 6 years, that again has really stood out to you, that you're like, actually that like changed my business?
I'm more of a video, but I have got all the books. I have read some of the books. One of my favorite is Beach Money. I think that's something that you should read if you're a leader, and I'm not talking about director, but if you're leading above and you're interested in your plan and what you want to do is grow your business and move up those leadership ranks, 100% I recommend The Freakishly Good Guide to Effective Leader. Is that what it's called? I always get the title.
Yeah.
The titles, I'm sure we can share that afterwards. I'm very, very much I like to, because my life is so busy, I stick my AirPods in and I play things on YouTube, and 100% recommend Chelsea Otto, Laura Godwin, Jennifer Anderson, my Scentsy, and obviously our Region 2 fire starters, Laura, Lisa, Tam, you guys. But also I like to listen to a lot of, it's probably not business advice, but just like mindset advice, and it's just the favorites like Tony Robbins. Absolutely love Tony Robbins. Him all day.
Because the thing is, your mindset is literally the core of everything in your life, whether it's your business, like whether it's your children, whether it's working out, like whatever it is in your life, your mindset is literally the start of everything. So for me, exactly the same. I obviously do read and listen to like business related books, but I'm more about like mindset, and that will then move me forward. And I think that's a really good point, is that you said so many times people will say, oh, I haven't got time for personal development, I haven't got time for this. You have the time. Put your AirPods in, and while you're cooking, or while you're driving, or while you're sorting the washing, or whatever, like, you have the time. It's just, you know, making the time.
Exactly. And you do have to sacrifice for this business. And I think sacrifice is always seen as like a negative word. It's not. You're sacrificing time to buy yourself time in the future. Yeah. And your favorite, this is one of your favorite quotes as well, it's one of mine. Being an entrepreneur is working for 5 years like no one will, so you can live like other people can't, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
It's about sacrificing and putting that effort in so you can live a life that most people can't even imagine. And that is literally what you hold in your hands as soon as you sign up to that join button. Yeah. It's not it, but your mindset is going to determine how far you go.
Absolutely. I think it's, and you know, it's again, I'm trying to think of a quote. It's like, it's literally gone out of my head. I heard it very early. It's something like, there's no PRV in TV, or something like that. And I'm not saying that I never watch TV, because I do watch TV. However, I watch it when the things I want to get done for my business that day are done. I never watch them in when it's on. I never watch them in. I mean, I might go put Love Island on and make samples or follow up while it's on in the background. But I'm talking like in the early days. So just to give some context, like, I honestly think now people look at people who've been in the business a long time, and then they just forget, like, you know, in the beginning, like, everybody had to start with the same box. Everyone gets the same box. Everyone gets the same kit. I had 3 different jobs when I started, 2 children, a dog. Like, I didn't have, looking at my life and like looking at your life, people will go, I could go, I haven't got time to work Scentsy. But I made the time. I used to get up early, sort orders before I went to work. When I got in from waitressing, I would literally be sorting orders at like midnight when I got in, so they were ready the next morning when I went and did the school run, so I could give them to people. Or, you know, like, it's about priorities. So
people say, don't they, like, pockets of time, use the pockets of time. Some people don't have pockets of time, like I don't have pockets of time, and when you don't, you have to make the time. And I just want to say, like, that sounds really like bossy or like you have to be really strict, but we do something that's really fun. Like, we sell something that smells really good. Like, it's not going down lines. Like, you're nice smelling wax and you're talking to people. Like, they're fun things to do, you know.
I can't remember. Again, it's a guy I follow on Instagram. He shared something the other day, and he was like, it was a Tony Robbins type guy. I can't remember who it was, but again, he was on stage and he went, "You're telling me this business is hard." He's like, "You're telling me this business is hard." He went, "You're talking to people from your phone. Like, it is not hard." He went, "You tell your ancestors," or what, you know, like, it's not really, when you think about it. Okay, you all right? Yeah. Okay. Aside from income, and obviously we've heard a lot of it over the course of tonight already. It's beatboxing, I think. Aside from income, what is one thing that Scentsy has done for your life?
Like, I think I kind of covered it when I burst into tears and had a mini breakdown. It's brought, so, like, I can't even put it into words. It's brought me back. Like, and I know that sounds so cheesy, but it genuinely has. It's given me a place just to be me. It's given me a social life. It's given me friendships. It's given me, I've always been like a very driven person. I like achieving things. I like recognition. I'm not afraid to say that. I like earning the things. I like having things to go for, like goals. I really like that. And it's given me that again, and something I didn't think I'd have again. I was stuck in a job that I hated, and I was a mum, and that was it. And it's given me back that, like, that inner me, that inner drive back. And it's given, like,
I think that's probably things that, I mean, you will hear it from your teammates, and I've certainly heard it before, is that, you know, even sending somebody a certificate or sending them a text or giving them a shout out, or they're like, "I've worked in my career for 20 years and no one's ever recognized what I've done, and you've just sent me a text message to say well done." Like, it is the small things, and there's nothing wrong with saying that I like recognition. I like recognition. There's nothing wrong with it. And I think, you know, we do it. How often, if our children do something amazing and we're like, "Oh my God, you're amazing," like, why is that any different as an adult?
feels good. And like everything, and what I love most about this, yeah, is that everything we feel in this business, everything we've said on this call, everything you hear consultants gush about Scentsy, you can give that to someone else. Like you can bring up, and they can feel like that. Like how cool is that?
Yeah.
How it's just so feel good, isn't it? Like you can give that to someone else.
Definitely, it's a gift.
It
You wanna
is.
go off? Okay, so we're nearly done. I don't mean we're nearly done. Sorry, I don't mean that. I just mean I've kept you for like an hour. You're going to sit down?
Right, you know we would be.
Oh yeah, totally. Right. So, do you have a funny or inspiring story? So a funny story.
I like the family fingers.
Pardon?
Family fingers.
Family fingers.
Yeah, this is.
What on here?
No, yeah. No,
The man.
no, the puppets. The puppets.
Is that so cool?
Yeah, the puppets.
Your dinosaur puppets.
No, the family puppets.
I don't know. I'll decide for it, guys.
Family puppets.
Okay.
And they're different. The soap puppets.
I'll
It
work
is.
it out and I will share what he's talking about later. We'll break it down. Okay, so a funny or inspiring story. So maybe when you've been live and something funny's happened, or something that's happened at an event, or
Really struggled to think of one. Isn't going to embarrass me, or yeah, it's a funny one than inspiring, if I'm honest. And I'm throwing myself under the bus here, but just the funniest thing that happened that I still am being paid back to for this till this day was during COVID when we ran a training course. It was me. Honestly, I'm throwing myself under the bus here, but everyone knows, for goodness sake. We did a training course called Let's Have It, because that's Lifton says it because she's from Hull, so she says. And it was like a 4-week training course, and I don't know how it came about, but for some reason I got roped into doing a Scentsy wrap along to Vanilla Ice Baby. I up in like a hoodie and Harry's cap backwards, and I had like a scent circle medallion. And it was all, it was funny at the time. I don't know why I did it. I'm so mortified about it now, and it keeps rearing its ugly head.
Oh, like the stand-up.
Like calling me Jemma. Yeah, that's right. And then we still joke about it now. We joke that I get far and I'll go on.
Hang on, Finn.
No.
You know, like Dre's car, like a high car with like scent circles swinging from the rim.
Michelle's saying, please tell me there is a video of this.
Anyway, should we change the subject? There's a video somewhere. I don't know where it is. Certainly not going to find it and tell you, but it's somewhere.
I'll find it.
And then, do you remember we were on an SSD call? Was it just with Region 2? And someone brought it up, and then Dan was like talking about it, and oh my God. And I remember I was laid next to Teddy trying to get him to sleep, so I wasn't on the camera. I was typing, and I was just mortified that our president was going to potentially have to of me absolute arse.
Right, I've got to get off the chair. Okay, so, but that is, that just shows, like, Dan Archard, he's going to make you do it one time at an event. It's going to happen. Okay, so we're on the last question. Finn, don't touch. We're on the last question. If, obviously you do have people joining, but if somebody was starting the business, can you do it at SFR? We have tried to ask her. What is the best piece of advice? So if somebody who's starting today, right now, what is the one piece of advice above all that you would give them to have success in this business?
Get to know the company, fall in love with the company, because no matter if you've been part of the industry before, no matter what you've heard, Scentsy is different.
Yeah.
It is so different to anything that you've ever heard about, ever read about, ever been a part of before. It's so different. So make sure that you invest in knowing what you're a part of. And fall in love with the company as much as the business, I suppose. And dare to believe, like, don't get in your own way. Dare to believe. that you can achieve whatever it is that you want if you are brave enough and you are consistent. And you are resilient, you can achieve. There is no limit to what you can achieve in this business. Literally, you can go straight to the top, because the only thing that stops us from doing that is our own reservation, the hurdles that we put in our own way, the walls that we build, the stuff that we are willing or not willing to do. That's what stops us from. And time, obviously, it has to be done consistently. And I'm done.
I was just going to say, I knew you'd say consistency, because you can do all the things, but you've got to do them consistently.
Can't do them for like a week or a month or a year. Sometimes it takes longer. Rome wasn't built. You have to be resilient to know that it hasn't happened after a year, but you've got to keep going. It hasn't happened after a month, but you've got to keep going, because it will. It will.
It's the compound effect. It's, what's the other book? Atomic Habits. Like, anything you do compounds, and if you do it consistently. Okay, guys, this has been, honestly, I've absolutely loved this. I could literally sit and talk to you all night. I didn't expect to have my little sidekick by my side, but here we are. That is what we do, right? We always just make it work. So thank you so much. Honestly, I've loved it, guys. Has anyone got any questions? I have been keeping an eye. I don't think I'm on my own enemy at the moment. I need to get my head in the game and get a routine and believe that you absolutely can get new customers, you know. There's no and you might have deciphered what he was talking about, the finger puppets. I'll find out and I'll let you know. I'll share it in your consultant group once I know what he was talking about. I think something just came to my brain about getting new customers, and it's just gone out of my head again. This is 40.
Quite.
Oh my God, it's gone out of my head. Yeah, basically, this isn't what it was. It'll come back to me, but it literally all does start with self-belief. Like, there are customers out there. There are people that want to do this. There are people that want to, that need this opportunity. And like Jemma said, it is a gift. Like, it's a gift that we've got to give to people. Why would we not share that? But it is all about, getting out of your own way, isn't it?
It doesn't mean, and it's a gift for everybody. You can literally, there's no expectations when you join the business. Or what I do with my team or people I bring in is I listen to what they want and I help them get that. That's it. I don't expect them to be a rock star.
Yeah.
They want to, if they've got the potential, I'll help them see that. I'll give them pushes in the right direction. But this business is literally for everyone for you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. You've just got to dare to. I think we're quite reserved people, the British, aren't we? And we're like, oh yeah, that. I don't think anybody comes into this business, well, I know no one does, comes into the business and think, right, I'm going to be a superstar director, or right, I'm going to earn £10,000 in a month. Nobody comes into this business like that. It's something that grows.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God, that's
when is the garden party? Marie, is that you? We'll sort it out. Right. Guys, I am going to go and try and get this sort of done in spread. Honestly, Jem, thank you so much. This has been absolutely amazing. I could literally sit and talk to you all night. Obviously, a lot of you, we are going to see at SFR.
I want to go SFR.
You want to go SFR?
Yeah.
I don't think I'd get much done if you were there. He's actually been to SFR in Amsterdam. Finley went to his very first SFR when he was 6 months old.
We'll go far.
Yeah, we'll go. You want to go really far? Okay. So we'll see a lot of you at SFR. And I
want to see the lady.
Okay, I promise you we will go see Jemma soon, yeah? We'll sort it out. We're not that far now. But honestly, thank you. And I totally I'm sure Jemma will say the same. Like, if you think of anything after this, just honestly, the Scentsy community, I've never known anything like it, where people will happily share. And I know we have sharing groups and stuff, but don't ever feel stuck or that you can't message anybody. So if you've got any questions about anything that we talked about tonight, like, feel free to message either of us. But thank you so much. Are you going to say bye?
Bye, Finn.
You going to wave?
Bye. See you at SFR.
You absolutely will not this time. Right, okay, guys, thank you so much, Jem. Honestly, I've loved this, and thank you for being here, guys. I will share the recording tomorrow for anybody that couldn't make it, and yeah, we'll see you at SFR, and keep voting for those bring back my bars as well.
Yeah.
See you later. Bye. Bye.